just like to know if anybody else here is slept with my husband.
Right. Is there anyone who, for any reason, has had any kind of sex with my damn husband? I think I have a right to know. Grace.
Hi, welcome to Mimi's Place, where we talk about the laws of mind and how they affect us in the world around us. Today, we're going to dig deep into forgiveness. And it's really about, two things. Your thinking, and that is forgiving, having that courage and that bravery to forgive the ones who have been torturing you in your life, and or so you perceive, and grateful, thankful, being thankful for everything, walking around saying thank you. You appreciate life instead of going around moaning and groaning about it. So in my own life, which I share, but in the hope, I make these videos in the hopes my children and my grandchildren will someday find them and watch them. So there are certain details that I don't share publicly like that. But I understand that, humans, the human side needs, a mental equivalent, is what Emmett Fox would say. So they know that, I'm coming from a place of pain and suffering. So, it's that whole paradox. You don't want to bring up the story, but if you don't tell the story, they don't believe you. I gotta know your backstory. So I understand that. How did you come to these conclusions? So forgiveness is your battle. You've been led straight to this judgment that has chained you, and it's the big chains. You still have other beliefs, that you're going to break out of as you go along, but the big one, the one that's really hard to do, whether it's your special person, your father, your mother, your parents, your brother, your sister, whatever, a lover, it doesn't matter. It can be a president, it can be, a corporation. It doesn't matter. Whatever it is that you think has some kind of control over you, has hurt you in some way, you forgive them. And that's hard. It's really hard to do. So if you want the gory details of my backstory, you have to become a Patreon. You have to come to Patreon and become a patron. There's 2 videos, and one has the gory details, and that's for patrons only. And the other is just a high view, which is what I do here on YouTube, and I do give examples in my life. But please understand that I don't want my children and grandchildren to think of their father and their pop-pop in that way. So it will remain exclusive to patrons and will not ever be released, to the public. But this one is a companion to that, and you have to forgive them for it to change. And you have to surrender, knowing you don't do it. You're surrendering to the consciousness in your heart. I forgive them. I don't know how this is going to get fixed, but I know this. I forgive them. I forgive them for showing me that. And I shared about my son and my husband had an argument. I wasn't in the room. I didn't hear it. My other son and his wife was in the room. They heard it. They started to bring it up, and I was like, Well, that's okay. Bobby will grow up. You'll see. You know, you'll see it differently. And, you know, I didn't even know what was said. I was kind of, you know, shut it down. And then Father's Day came, and here it was Father's Day, and he was going on and on about how hard it would be to visit, you know, Doug now because we can't stay there because Bob will be there and all this other stuff, and we'll have to get hotels and limit our time. And, you know, I'm like, no, in my head, no, I can't live like this. No. Run to my sanctuary, the bathroom, and I burst into tears and I started crying. I said, I don't know what was said. I don't know, but I forgive him for showing me that. I don't know how this is going to get fixed, but I know you can do it. We all love each other. It's all good. You know, I would love for this to just, you know, I don't know what it was, but just to get erased with an ocean of love. You know, it's forgiven, it's forgiven, it's forgiven. I forgive it. You know, I forgive it. I don't know where this came from, but I forgive it. You know, and I was upset. I was crying. Here it was Father's Day and getting later in the day, you know, and he's feeding that out there, and I'm like, no. So I did it, and out of the blue, my son called him, and they talked for over an hour. It was great. All was forgiven and forgotten, and said so, you know, and it was amazing. It was amazing. I was so happy. I was on cloud nine. This is sweet. This is great, you know, and it works like that. It makes miracles in your life. And I think because of the uncertainty, you know, and that's trapping yourself in that corner, you don't know how this is going to get fixed. You know, you don't. And you know you can't do it. You can't imagine anything. You can't think of anything. You don't know what to do, you know. And so you just have had enough pain and suffering. When you get to the point where I'm sick of the devil, I know that's it. I'm ready for something else. You know, you will flip your world when you have had enough pain and suffering. You will flip your world. You know, and you come to discover that, you know, you find these laws, or at least I did. You know, I found them, and Neville Goddard, one of the big nuggets from Neville Goddard was, if you forgive and didn't forget, you didn't forgive. To forgive is to forget. And the big nugget from Emmett Fox was, it's in the Lord's Prayer. You know, forgive them, forgive their trespasses as, you know, we forgive those who trespass against us. So as I forgive them, I am forgiven. It's forgiven. Okay? I forgive the one showing me my belief. Yes, that hurt. You know, I forgive them for showing me that. You know, and it's odd. I know I made them do that. I forgive them for showing me that. It's washed away. When you see life objectively, it's a sorrow. You're sorry. You're feeling sorrowful, you know, and you wash it away with your tears. You purge it out with your yelling and your screaming and your anger and frustration. Your emotions are good. They're very good. They're not bad. Okay? Nothing's bad. There's not a bad thing in the world. You know? It's a thought or a belief. This is a mind game. This is not a material game. This is a thinking man's game. Okay? And you need to think. Okay? You gotta think. You gotta play your role, and you gotta think. Okay? So in my life, because I had not truly forgiven my husband for things that I thought were okay, I'll tolerate it, but I'm not going to forgive it. But I was looking at life objectively, so it was like, okay, I forgive you. I'm never going to forget it. And I didn't. And it starts permeating into the other aspects of your life. You know, I was getting fired all the time. It didn't matter. It didn't matter how good of a job I was doing. You know, I'd get fired. And it didn't matter what job I got. You know, I'd get fired. And it was like, what's this pattern? You know? And women flirting with my husband, you know. And he's flattered, but he wasn't paying any attention. That wasn't happening anymore. But that little, hey, you believe this, was there. You know, I didn't like it. You know, and it just grew. It grew. Got to where, you know, I was fighting with everyone. You don't fight. If you fight with one, you fight with all. And you can't say, I only fight with my husband at home. You're fighting with everyone. It's just the way it is. The fights come, you know, because you fight with the one at home. So now you're fighting with the boss. Now you're fighting with your bill service providers. You're fighting with all these people everywhere, you know, and you get tired of it. So then, you know, I got led to these laws, to Neville and Murphy and Emmett. And it was very hard. You have to be brave and you have to be courageous. But it was the best thing I ever did in my life. You know, everybody's cross they bear. You know, you have your own cross to bear. My life is, you know, not worse than or less than anyone else's. You know, you're privileged to be alive. But everybody makes their own jails in their mind. And it's not easy to break out of your jail when it's comfy. You know, you hear a lot these days about reparations for slavery and all that other stuff. Blah, blah, blah. You know, and black people, well, they're trying to attempt to make black people put on this hair shirt. And now y'all go bully these people. You know, when if you step back and look at it, the reality is we've all been enslaving each other since there were more than two people. You know, it's just the way it is. You know, because this is school. And you're here to learn and rise in consciousness. Everybody's at their own level of consciousness. You know, so no two people see it alike. So you make parables and you give allegories, mental equivalents, because that's the human part. That's the only way the human part can understand it. So when you say things like, you know, I am prosperous, you have to give it a mental equivalent, because otherwise you'll be prosperous in all things. You know, for example, if you believe, you know, you're always getting more bills, you're being prosperous. You're prospering in what you're thinking about. That's what it means. I am prosperous, you know. And prosperity to me means, and give it a mental equivalent. And this is why I say look to nature, you know, look to life. God is life. Look to nature to give that mental equivalent. So, you know, I am prosperous. I'm no different than that tree. I am whole. I am complete. And just like that tree is rooted in the earth, I am rooted in God. you know, and just like that tree is growing and it has an infinite amount of leaves, it's growing to the sun that gives life, it pulls the water that gives life, you know, I am alive, I am blessed, and the water that the root pulls is God in my heart, and the sky, and the sun, and the air, and all the things shaped out of it is my imagination, the sun, and the sky, and the moon, and all that, and the leaves are like, you know, money in the bank. I have more money in the bank than I know what to do with, just like that tree has more leaves than it knows what to do. I am prosperous like that tree. I keep growing branches and leaves, you know, and when I spend money, I'm investing in myself. I'm exchanging it for the things I love and want to experience. And that's good. That's very good. I'm blessed to have this tool to do that. And for the tree, the leaves fall, and then they go down into the ground, and then they feed the soil and make the soil and grow the soil, and then the tree grows more, just like me. Money comes in, goes out, comes back multiplied. It always comes back multiplied to me, just like the tree. Its leaves are infinite. Money is infinitely always circulating into my life in abundance. I have it in abundance, more than I know what to do with. It's infinite. So you provide a mental equivalent. This gives imagination something to work with. Okay, yeah. She says dollars are like leaves. Here you go. You know, and he's pouring it out to you while you're going, God is great, God is good, you know, and you and your imagination are one. It's not separate from you, but you have to give it something to work with. You know, if you're being nebulous, then it's just going to apply it to everything, you know, and that's why it's important. There is no bad, okay? There is no bad. Get rid of it. Made it up. It's all good. It's all God. So it's all good. Okay? It's all good. Always. It's perfect. You just can't see it. You're not really doing anything to the climate. You're not really doing anything except punishing yourself. You know, there's not a water shortage and there's not a drought. That's just you punishing yourself, thinking that there's not enough, thinking that you harm the earth, which means you think you harm yourself because the earth comes out of you, you know. You're beating yourself up. There's 60 ways to Sunday. Pick a story. They're all out there. You know, the evil, you know, man of 1984, you know, Big Brother, to, you know, pick a story. There's billions of them. So I hope this helps. It's your greatest battle. That judgment keeps facing you, and it grows. And you think, oh no, that's just happening at my house. No, it's entered into your workforce. And now the place you were really succeeding and having great fun with starts becoming fragmented, you know, and you need to defrag it. You need to defrag your drive, and that's your mind. And you got to sit back and rest and just rewrite it, defrag it, get it all lined back up properly, okay? And you do that, but just being quiet and not thinking, and letting the one in your heart do the thinking, and you just be compelled. You follow your instinct. You do as you're told. You trust and obey. You know this consciousness knows you intimately, and it's all good. There is no bad. We got rid of that. He did it. He did it. All I had to do was forgive. Hardest thing I ever did in my life. But it was the best thing I ever did in my life. And this is the story of Jesus on the cross. Forgive them, Father. They don't know what they're doing. You know what they're doing. You forgive them. And it's automatic that you're forgiven. And it's all washed away. This is the Lord's Prayer. So I hope this helps. Blessings to you. And thank you. Thank you for being you.